Sahana bhavatu sahana bhunaktu saha viryam karavavahai tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. No questions. So we had been doing about the three gunas. For anybody who is joining us the first time, the three gunas refers to tamas, rajas, and sattva. Tamas is the state of ignorance, indolence, inertia. Rajas is the state of desires, of activity, of competition, all this agitation, all the stress associated with uh, work comes in Rajas, and Sattva is the state of clarity, of equanimity, of bliss. It is the state of being highly productive, highly efficient, can work a lot without there being any stress. So tamas, there'll be no work, or very negative work. Rajas, there will be work with a lot of stress, and Sattva, there will be work without any stress. Tamas is represented by darkness. It's all dark. You don't know anything. You don't know to such an extent that you don't know that you don't know. So often in tamas, you feel extremely knowledgeable because um, you don't know, you don't know. You know, sometimes how children are so arrogant about something they know. That's so cute, right? Oh, I know this or I know that. They're cute about it. That's tamas. Tamas means ignorance. And then Rajas also doesn't know. And they're confused. They're not. They're all confused. They don't know whether they're coming or going. And Sattvic people who also don't know. But this not knowing is a different not knowing. This is not knowing the ultimate truth. And they don't forget that. They don't forget that they don't know that ultimate truth. So there's various ways of looking at this, but basically tamas is the lowest, rajas is the middle, and sattva is the best. Sattva is how you get to self-realization. Curious monk, what is different from sattva and sacrifice? What is different between sattva and sacrifice? Sattva is the state of thoughts which are equanimous, clear, pure. Yes. Sacrifice is an act. When you sacrifice your likes and dislikes towards something. So you could sacrifice your likes and dislikes towards your goal, but that goal may not be higher. However, it is the nature of Sattvic people to sacrifice because they're able to sacrifice their likes and dislikes towards attaining the ultimate good for themselves and for others. But all sacrifice need not be Sattvic. At least insofar as a Wimbledon champion will sacrifice his likes and dislikes to become the champion, but he may or may not be Sattvic. Sometimes sacrifice and ambition are at odds. No, not at all. Sacrifice and ambition are not at odds. You sacrifice because you have an ambition. Otherwise, what are you sacrificing for? You sacrifice your personal likes and dislikes towards whatever it is you're trying to achieve or whatever it is you're trying to obtain. So, ambition and sacrifice are not at odds. What is at odds sometimes is we can't decide what we really want in life. So, that's where the problem comes. Okay, so we have so far done intellect, right? We did how the intellect can be divided into tamas, rajas, and sattva. Now we did the 4 divisions which we have done. If you would like to know more about how discrimination fails, because what is intellect? When you're saying a sattvic intellect means your capacity of discrimination is very good. So we are all the time in life making some discrimination, all the time. It's going on all the time. Right? Now, the ability to do that well is what comes out of sattva. You do it correctly, you do it well. So you're making, everybody wants to be wealthy, right? This is common. Everybody would want to be wealthy. Nobody says, I want to be a poor person. That'd be silly, right? To say, I want to be poor. We all want to be wealthy. But then the discrimination plays as to what really is wealth. If I want to be wealthy, should I not first sit down and ask myself this question, what according to me is wealth? So then maybe I'll come up with a figure. Maybe I'll say a wealthy person is, I don't know, he has a total wealth of, I don't know, what does a wealthy person have? 100 crores? If he's somebody at 100 crores, Arun, would he be a wealthy person? Or not really? I heard somebody bought a flat for 100 crores, maybe 200 crores. Let's make it. Okay, suppose he had 200 crores. You know, in Mumbai, they sold a flat of 100 crores. Believe this? Flat. I know what is in that flat. I want to go see it. What can you be selling for 100 crores? So now assume now she spent 100 crores on the flat. Surely his whole corpus cannot be 100 crores. Has to be more than that, right? He'll have to maintain that flat also. And he'll have to buy some Mercedes and all that also because 100 crore ka flat and he's going around in a Maruti 800 wo to nahi hone wala. So therefore he'll have to buy that also and he'll have to buy, I don't know, he'll have to put Pogan Paul kitchens and I don't know what he'll have to do. So let's assume that his wealth must be 200 and we say 200 crores for arguments. So and here's a rich man and he has 200 crores. So what do I mean when I say I want to be rich? I want to be wealthy. What exactly do I mean? What do I want? First, I must know this. So I come up with some figure. Let us say I come up with 200 crores. And I'm just throwing this figure, okay, because I don't understand these figures. Kuch bolna hai, that's why I'm giving some figure. So 200 crores. I don't even know how many zeros are in 200 crores. Okay, let us say he's very wealthy and he has 200 crores. Now, is he wealthy? Is the question. Big question that we all have to think about and answer for ourselves. Is this person wealthy? Vedanta talks about what is wealth. Now, don't say, okay, you have good, I don't know what. Don't say, I've got a good relationship. We're not discussing relationship. No, say, I'm very healthy, that's why I'm wealthy. Okay, maybe, but here we are discussing money. Okay, we're just discussing money. So, what makes somebody a rich person? What makes somebody a rich person is that he can buy whatever he wants. Isn't it? If he can buy anything he wants, he's a rich person. Now, this chap who has 200 crores, can he buy everything he wants? I don't know. Take Mukesh Ambani. Can he buy everything he wants? I don't know. I can't answer that question. Can you? I can't answer this question. Can Mukesh Ambani buy everything he wants? Can Bill Gates buy everything he wants? then is there no such thing as a rich person? Let's go back to our definition. If a rich person can buy everything he wants, then how much must he have to do this? You can't find a figure, right? You can't find a figure. How much must he have to buy whatever he wants? So therefore, you'll have to look in another place. Which is the other place we can look? We can look at the other side. He has enough money, we can't answer that, to buy everything he wants. So money is one side and want is the other side. If I have a corpus of, let us say, I don't know, 50 lakhs, but in my 50 lakhs, I can buy everything I want, wouldn't I be a rich person? So what makes for a rich person? We are only seeing the number. We're not seeing the other side. So a sage who has nothing may be a very rich person because he can buy anything he wants, but he wants nothing. So he's a rich person. So even when we start this question about what is wealth, what is being rich, and we're talking about money itself, we're not talking about anything else, we find that we have to exert our discrimination to understand what is that thing. A sattvic intellect is able to discriminate well. We all want to be healthy. What does it mean to be healthy? We all want good relationships. What does it mean to have a good relationship? I want a fulfilling relationship. What does that even mean? What will happen that I will have a fulfilling relationship? Now, all of this is where the intellect comes in. Looking within is being the richest person. Nisha, that is escaping the question because we are talking about specifically money itself. We're talking about money. What makes you rich financially? If you exert your discrimination, you'll find things are really not as self-evident as they appeared prima facie. That capacity to do this, to reflect upon life, is what is the sattvic intellect. Now, we can't go into this whole story right now, but if you all are interested in it, you can read the portion in Fall of the Human Intellect. The second last chapter gives what correct discrimination is all about. So please go and read that thing. Just read it to understand how futile our discrimination sometimes is. What are we thinking about and what should we have been thinking about? So you can have a look at that. So that's intellect. Okay, so now we have to do what? We have to do happiness. What comes next in your book? Everybody has a new book, right? I think online also it's the new book. I mean the soft copy. You have old book. Okay. All right, so new book. New book. Old book. Okay. Old book. Okay, so well, let's do whatever Omkar has. What is Omkar got? Omkar has got new book. So Omkar, this is your order, right? First there was intellect, now there is happiness. And what comes after happiness? Renunciation. Oh, I see. Okay, so let's do happiness. Metric of contentment. I don't know what you mean, curious monk. So who will read Sukham? Anyway, whatever it is, it's going to be covered now in happiness. So who will read the first paragraph?
Janki ji, I could read it.
Please do.
Thank you. Happiness, Sukham. Sattvic happiness arising from the clarity of intellect is that which feels detestable in the beginning and ends up blissful. The happiness derived from the pursuit of the supreme self within, which entails physical restraint, emotional detachment, and intellectual understanding of spiritual knowledge. These practices demand effort and discipline. The practitioners find them stiff, even painful at times. Hence, the pursuit is said to be detestable in the beginning. However, with continued practice, they become pleasant, enjoyable, and turn wholly blissful in the end. Rajasic happiness is the opposite of the sattvic.
Yeah, that's enough, Swapnil. We can just summarize this one.
Sure, it effectively means that sattvic happiness, even if it is painful at the beginning, ultimately it's enjoyable. So in the long term, it is always a better route to life.
Very good. So what is the definition of sattvic happiness? It may seem detestable to begin with, but it ends up as being happy. Curious Monk, this is a book we're doing, Vedanta Treatise. You can join us on the Zoom class also. What feels terrible in the beginning may end up feeling very nice. And what feels nice in the beginning may end up feeling very bad later on. Okay, now, so give us examples, because I'm sure all of you know this. So tell me, give examples. Example number 1.
Morning studies.
Morning study. Morning study.
Very good. Morning studies. Horrible. 4 o'clock. You will wake up at 4 o'clock. Morning studies. Seems so horrible. 4 o'clock. Inhuman. Who gets up at that time? Seems horrible, no? How is our morning study group doing, Mr. Srinivasan?
Janki ji, can I just say something?
1 second, Kinnari.
Hariom Janki ji, it is out of 40, around 20 people, half the numbers are posting that they have studied before 6. So it's a good, excellent response as far as, 50% is excellent response.
Very good. Yeah, Kinnari, go ahead.
I just wanted to add this, that the morning study group is helping me immensely. I was trying for the past 3-4 months to get up anywhere close to 6, but I couldn't. And this, I am not regular, but I'm trying. And I can really see the benefits after getting up early. So thank you.
Thanks to Mr. Srinivasan, he started the group.
Yes.
It's a nice thing. I mean, once you get into the habit, you wonder how you can do without it. It's like, imagine if you never brushed your teeth in your life, okay? And then you start brushing your teeth in your life. And you would say, how was I not doing this? Imagine if you were going through life without having a bath every day. Then you start having a bath every day. Can you say, oh my God, why did I not even do this? Because just as our physical body requires cleansing on a daily basis, our mind and intellect require cleansing on a daily basis. You cannot, oh, great, Aditi. You cannot do this. That, okay, you're going on for years and years and years and the thoughts are not being cleaned really. Can you imagine? The mess inside. Such a mess, such a mess. So, one example is morning study. Give other examples. Who will give other examples?
Diet and exercise.
Diet and exercise. Very good. Then what else?
Eating sweets.
Okay, eating sweets. Then what else?
Gambling.
Controlling anger. Yes, correct. When you're getting angry and you want to say something back and you gulp it down, it's horrible. Horrible not being able to say whatever you wish to say. But if you go back and think about what you really want to say and then come back and say it, you probably will achieve more that way. We are more interested in venting than in solving problems. Venting feels nice. Solving problems feels difficult. So we want to vent. We don't want to solve problems. Minding your own business. Very good, Aditi. Yes, minding your own business. Imagine the amount of time we spend on seeing what other people should be doing. What a waste of time. उनको करने दो जो करना है. Let me make my life proper. जो करो जो करना है. Proper sleep, correct. Sleep at the right time. Not nagging, correct. Not nagging. Gadget discipline, yes. To not look at your phone every time it goes ting dong. Means, please don't misunderstand. Doesn't mean that we should not respond to people who are asking us something. I mean, you should give an immediate response to somebody who asks you something. But do you actually need to look at every forward the moment it comes? You need to check your Facebook, who has posted what, and having seen it, what happens? Are you delighted that that person did this wonderful thing? And actually feel bad about it. Why are you doing this? Then what? Taking your medicines, correct. Or Ashia, very good. Organizing room, correct. Keeping your whole space clean. Such a pain to keep it clean. Such a pain that the moment you finish with something, you put it away. It's an irritant in the beginning. When you finish, put it away. You don't need to clean your room if you keep putting things away the moment you finish with them. You finish studying in the morning, close your books, do namaskar to them, put them in the drawer. It's done. If a few hours you keep doing stuff and you don't start putting things away as soon as they are done, then they're all on your desk. Then at night you say, oh my God, such a mess. Who's going to clean this? I have no time to clean. What do you mean you have no time to clean? What were you doing all day? So organizing, keeping it organized, neat, clean. Gambling. No, gambling. Okay. Right. All right. Gambling. Speaking less, listening more. Very good. Not controlling. Yes, not trying to control others. In fact, not even trying to control your own mind, like, like sitting like a bugbear on your own mind. Direct the mind more than controlling the mind. When you control the mind, you're creating a pressure cooker situation inside. Don't avoid that. Direct the mind rather than keeping on controlling. Then what? Don't give opinion unless asked for. Very good. Declutter. Very good. Who is that lady? What is her name? Mary Com. Follow Mary Com. Joining class 5 minutes before. Very good, Manoj. Yes, what is the difficulty everybody has in just joining the class 5 minutes earlier, sitting quietly, listening to bhajans? You don't have to tell anybody you're doing it, but your whole mental framework comes right. And that few minutes you get of just not doing anything else, just sitting down calmly, will make the class more productive. Very good. Join class 5 minutes before. My way or highway, not responding immediately. Yes, why not respond immediately to what people say? Sticking to a routine, yes. A discipline during the day. Very good. Not being too busy, one thing at a time, correct? Respecting nature, yes, correct. Okay, so you see, I don't need to explain. All of you all are very smart in terms of understanding what is sattvic happiness. Now let's see what is rajasic happiness. What is rajasic happiness? Who will read rajasic happiness?
Should I continue?
I'll read.
Please, go ahead.
Rajasic happiness is the opposite of the sattvic. It arises from the senses contacting the objects, feels pleasant in the beginning and turns painful towards the end. Sensual pleasure is enjoyable only to start with, but the joy diminishes with continued contact and ends up with pain and sorrow. In one sentence, it is opposite of sattvic happiness, means it is pleasure in the beginning, but painful in the end, and
Right.
it is out of sensual contact,
Yes.
which is painful again.
Not again, it's the same thing. So look at your whole list, okay? Every one of y'all have written a lovely list. That same list is for Rajasic. When you do those things, when you clutter it up, why are you cluttering it up? Because you don't want that little bit of pain of putting it away right there and then. Whatever, controlling. It sounds like controlling will help me make my relationships good and make people behave the way I would like them to behave. They're not behaving the way I'd like them to behave. All that happens is they and I get into a fight. That's all that happens. If it is somebody who really requires you in some way, like you're his boss or something, then they don't say it, but that resentment festers within. There was a movie these people made called White Tiger or something. White Tiger, no? About how you treat the staff so badly and the resentment they hold without saying anything. They may not tell you, but they hold that resentment. In fact, to be staff to somebody is really a very sad thing because it is the nature of a human being to not want to take instruction. But the nature of the job is to take instruction. So we have to be very, very sensitive to that fact that nobody would like it. Happy is he born and taught that serves not another soul. What is it? What is that poem? Where is my Bharat? Bharat, you know it? Happy is he born and taught. Where is he? Bharat, you're not there?
Yes, I am. Haven't heard this.
No, I haven't heard it. What happened to you? And where are all my good friends from English literature? Nobody from English literature today? Okay, Bharat, read out the poem. You'll be able to find it. I'm really bad at remembering all these things. Nobody else knows? Happy is he born and taught that serveth not. Who knows it? And simple truth his utmost skill. No, nobody has a cell phone. When I want a cell phone, nobody has one. Find it and read the poem.
Ankiti, I can read.
Yeah, please do.
It's a poem by Sir Henry Wotton. How happy is he born and taught that serveth not another's will, whose arbor is his honest thought, and simply truth his only skill.
Simple truth.
And simple truth his only skill. This man is freed from servile bands of hope to rise, of fear to fall, Lord of himself, though not of lands, and having nothing yet hath all.
So simple, no? When we have to serve another's will, remember why we are serving another's will. Because we're wanting something from them. Otherwise, why would you do it? There was a lovely story about the sage Aristophanes, who was a philosopher of ancient Greek. And he was sitting under the tree and eating beans. So another philosopher, the royal philosopher, the court philosopher, saw Aristophanes sitting under the tree eating beans. So he told him, if you knew how to flatter the king, you wouldn't be eating beans. So Aristophanes was supposed to have replied and said, if you knew how to eat beans, you wouldn't have to flatter the king. So we get pushed into this position of servility because we have a demand. Don't have a demand, you're a free soul. So how do we get pushed into this position of servility? Remember, it is our craving to get happiness from the world. That's the price we're paying. That's what he's saying. So it's not a different point, Mr. Srinivasan, same point. We want the sense objects to give us this happiness. And the consequences of that, we don't quite get. I want my husband to be sweet to me. What is the consequence of that? I don't get. I want the food to be exactly as I like it. What is the consequence of this? I don't get. I don't understand the bondage that is the result of this. That's why that poem says he's a free man. All he knows is the truth. That's all he knows. Doesn't know anything else. The question is, what else does he need to know? So Varsha has posted it. If you want to have a look, you can. My happy life, what is it? Happy is he born and taught that serveth not another's will. What does it mean you don't serve another's will? That means you're a self-sufficient person. You're not dependent on any external thing for your happiness. The Rajasic kind of happiness is that you are dependent on the external thing for happiness, and that external thing currently is going okay. It's going well. You want your husband to give you flowers and he is giving you flowers. That is called Rajasic happiness. You want to create a mess in your room and you have staff who will sort it out for you. Rajasic happiness. I must say that is a real tough one. For many months, for like 9 months, I was living at this place called Ananda. I don't know if you've heard of it. So I was living there. And so if I would step out of my room, okay, and if I'd left my room a mess, I hadn't made the bed or something, then they would go into my room and sort it out. And I thought, this is the greatest thing I have ever experienced. This is the height of luxury. You can leave the room in any way you like. You come back, it's a spick and span room. It was superb. But there's a price to pay for these type of luxuries. So you get used to them. Then one day you're going to leave that place. And then you have to come back to making your own bed and putting everything back in its place. So it's interesting how the mind can just get so comfortable, so relaxed in having things going its way. That kind of happiness, that everything is currently going fine. So I'm happy. That is called Rajasic happiness. How is it coming? It is coming out of the contact with the sense object. What is a sense object? Anything that you can see or hear or taste or feel or touch. These are your sense objects. So anything that you can see or hear or feel or taste or touch are your sense objects. Now all this is going well and you are happy. This is Rajasic happiness. All this is going badly and you are unhappy. This is Rajasic happiness. Okay? Because when it was going well, you did not fortify your personality. Then when it goes badly, you will not be able to stand the blow. But the fact of this world is one day or the other, it could go badly. You could have the most wonderful spouse in the world, but you cannot guarantee that this will last your lifetime. You could have the most wonderful body in the world, but you cannot guarantee that it will last your lifetime. You can't guarantee anything. Therefore, better to fortify ourselves. Fortifying ourselves means inculcating
Values.
Okay, in context always.
Discipline. Discipline.
In context. Yes, Ashiya, correct. Inculcating sattvic happiness. Always in context. You all are not wrong. The answer is right. But we're talking about a certain thing, right? So stay on that point. So, sattva, correct. Inculcate sattvic happiness. No. It doesn't mean if your husband is being very nice to you, you tell him, you please stop giving me flowers. I really like getting flowers. You better stop doing it. You don't have to do all this stuff. If he's giving you flowers, let him give you, Baba. You're lucky if he's giving you flowers. So let him continue. But in the meanwhile, you also keep your own levels of sattvic happiness at it. Be at it. Do your morning study. Do your karma. Do your bhakti. Do your jnana. Grow up in life. You don't have to stop the external world from being nice to you. It's very nice if people are nice to you. But don't let that stop you from doing the important things. Now that he's giving you flowers doesn't mean you don't have to get up in the morning and study. You still have to do it. Because you don't know what the future holds, right? So your only guarantee in life, if there is such a thing, the only guarantee you ever are going to have is the control you have over yourself. That's the only guarantee. Because anything can happen, but you are sort of okay if you have that control. Which, like that is so obvious. Like right now we can see it, right? Isn't that what's happening to many people? Those who've already inculcated discipline, they have had a reasonably okay time during this thing. Those who had not already inculcated discipline will have a more difficult time, whatever the situation is. So let's not give up the important things just because things are going fine. Let's not give them up even if things are going bad. Whatever it is, let's not give them up. If morning study doesn't go, come what may, the best of times and the worst of times. Whatever's happening, you're going to get up in the morning and study. You're going to do your karma. You're going to do your bhakti. You're going to do your jnana. You're going to take care of your body. Because this is what is going to help you when you require that. Okay, so we understand tamasic and rajasic. They're basically opposite of each other. Now let's understand. We understood sattvic and rajasic. Now let's see, what are these tamasic guys up to? What are they doing? What's their happiness? Who will read this? Yeah, 1 second. Yes, Bharat?
So the joy diminishes with every contact, and eventually you reach a position of sorrow. So the only 2-bit happiness that the person gets is the initial contact.
Yes, assuming they're indiscriminate. If they are not indiscriminate, they will continue the happiness.
But the rajasic person is indiscriminate, right?
Yeah. If he is indiscriminate, that nature, if he is indiscriminate, he will lose the happiness. Whoever is indiscriminate will lose the happiness. But it is not, what should I say? Even if he is discriminate in his contact, but he is enjoying it because of the contact, there's nothing else involved, that also will be included. Okay, let's put it this way. I am very discriminately contacting mangoes. I eat 1 mango every day. Okay. Now, I love mangoes, but I'm reasonably disciplined that I'm having only 1 mango a day. So now, for some reason, there are no mangoes. So my discipline will not help me because I still need the 1 mango a day, right? For instance, people watch television. Every day they watch, let us say they watch 1 hour of television, and they're very regular. They watch 1 hour of television. Then electricity is not there. Though they have been disciplined, they'll still be frustrated that the thing is not there. Is that clear?
Yes. Thank you.
So, yeah, if you're indisciplined, then it's a double whammy. Because what happens when you're indisciplined is even when the TV is there, you will not enjoy it. But if you've been disciplined, you're that much better off that when the TV is there, you'll enjoy it. But when it goes away, you'll be frustrated.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so who was going to read?
I was going to read.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tamasic happiness springs from ignorance of the Supreme Self, a happiness delusive of the Self from beginning to end, arising from sleep, indolence, or heedlessness. When you are ignorant of a malady, you remain blissfully unaware. It does not agitate you mentally. So also is the pleasure or joy derived from indolence, lethargy, indifference, heedlessness. That type of negative happiness is tamasic. So a tamasic happiness is that which is born out of ignorance and heedlessness.
But first and foremost, tamasic happiness springs from the ignorance of the self.
Yes.
That's the first quality. What is that kind of happiness that you get because you don't know the self? You don't want the self. You're not interested in the self. So that is first. Now this kind of sorry?
Janki, I have a question before you proceed. When we say ignorance of the self, there are many people who are ignorant of the self and are pretty much ritualistic. So they go to the temple regularly, and if one day they miss it, they are miserable. So is this combination of tamasic, being tamasic and rajasic, or what is this?
Yes, it is. I mean, to the extent that the happiness is because you don't understand the facts of life, it is a tamasic happiness. You feel you have been a religious person because you go to the temple every day. Then the happiness you get out of that is a tamasic happiness.
Okay, thank you.
Out of ignorance, the happiness that comes out of ignorance. You know that famous line, where ignorance is bliss, 'tis folly to be wise? That's tamasic happiness. It says basically that I have tuberculosis. I don't know I have tuberculosis, so it's folly for me to know I have tuberculosis, because the moment I know it, I'm going to be very agitated. I don't want to know it. That kind of happiness, where you're an ostrich, you sort of dug your head into the ground, you're not willing to see what is in front of your eyes. That is tamasic happiness. The happiness that comes out of ignorance, comes out of indolence, comes out of inertia. It is the happiness you get when you're just sitting in front of the television because you've got nothing else to do. You're sitting there. Are you enjoying the program? No, you're not. Is it like stimulating and you're like, oh my God, this is wonderful, this stuff I'm learning? No, you're not. Why are you sitting there? Because you have no energy to get up and go anywhere else. That's why you're sitting there. That kind of happiness that comes out of indolence. It's not really happiness. You can't even call it happiness. It is just like the state. That is the tamasic happiness. Comes out of, rajasic person is eating and drinking and blah blah, and then he's enjoying himself, or at least his concept of enjoyment. But a tamasic person is not even enjoying it. I mean, there's no enjoyment involved. What is the enjoyment in this? Just like boredom. I mean, just like a steady state of mental numbness. Now, the sad part is you'll find that even in class. Every time we don't follow the line of thought, that's the state we are in. It's a mental numbness. Like not alert enough to know what is going on now. Just going on with whatever has been heard in the past. So this is what happens to each one of us. It's not like somebody will talk of point X, somebody will start talking of point Y. Instead of concentrating on what is being said, just repeat, add infinite in your own mind, something you know already. This is not how education takes place. You can't educate yourself like that. That is why most spiritual education is not education. It is just listening, ad infinitum, ad nauseum, and then repeating it to anybody who will give you 1 second to speak. It's horrible. Really horrible. And such people are dying to teach. a horrible thing. They don't recognize it as tamasic happiness. To speak about things that you yourself have not understood. And just start quoting right, left, and center, anywhere, anyhow. Chaos. So, sattvic happinesses. You have worked and done the right thing and have reached a level of happiness which is steady and constantly with you. Rajasic happinesses, you are happy because everything around you is the way you currently want it to be. But you're not concerned to understand that I have to continue doing the right things so that my future also will continue to be as peaceful and as lovely as it is now. Tamasic happiness is neither here nor there. The tamasic, who was talking yesterday about happiness? The tamasic person, he doesn't even know they're not happy. Just as people who go on quoting the scriptures don't even know they haven't understood it. There's no reflection, there's just memorization of things. Those who reflect, they find it more difficult to memorize because they can't concentrate on the words enough to memorize it. They start reflecting. So, when you are able to when you numb yourself into some state which is not pleasurable, but is not displeasurable, you're just numbed. And that's tamasic happiness. And that's how it really is with reference to the self. Because we have numbed ourselves to the fact that the greatest joy of life is unavailable to us. The greatest wisdom of life is unavailable to us. And we are numbed to that. The greatest liberation is unavailable to us. We are so numb to it. If somebody says, the spiritual path is about liberation, then you ask, liberation from what? The British have gone away already. Don't get it right. How we are so bound. How we live in such a pathetic condition. It's all the more difficult to understand when you are absolutely happy with life. If you're absolutely happy with life and yet understand that you're living in a pathetic condition, then there's some hope. Some of us say we are in a pathetic condition because the condition is pathetic. I'm not talking about that. Everything is fantastic. And still you see, this is not right. This is not it. This is not my final resting place. This is not where I want to be. Okay, so clear happiness. Sattvic happiness. Bitter in the beginning to do the right things, but they will give ever enlarging ripples of joy. Rajasic happiness, very nice in the beginning, but then consequences have to be faced. Tamasic happiness, neither in the beginning nor in the end is there any pleasure in that. There's only a numbness, like we have with reference to the self. Clear? Happiness clear? Anybody has any questions with reference to happiness? Okay, then on we go to renunciation. Who will read renunciation?
Jankiji, I'll read.
Please do.
Sattvic renunciation is the relinquishment of attachment and fruit while performing obligations in life. The practice of sattvic renunciation is functioning objectively in the world, merely fulfilling obligatory duties and responsibilities, with no preferential attachment to action performed. and no expectation of enjoyment of fruit thereof. It is thereof not renunciation of action as such. Ironically, sattvic renunciation is defined as performance of action that ought to be done without appendages burdening it. So the gist is that sattvic renunciation is performing the action without any attachment to the fruit.
One more. Very good so far. One more point.
It is fulfilling of obligatory duties and responsibilities.
Mhm. Yeah, so performing action, all right. And one more.
Working objectively in the world.
Yeah. What you said was explaining what is objectivity, except one thing is left.
I can't see the book.
Yeah, okay, here's Ashya. Very good, Ashya. Without attachment to the action also. Naim, since you're new, maybe you haven't been through this part earlier. Nisha. So what is true liberation? Nisha, what we're going to discuss in Sattvic renunciation is what is true liberation. So what is Sattvic renunciation? 9 told us. Number 1, you're going to be doing the work. What work will you be doing? Your obligatory duty. How do you know that it is your obligatory duty? How do you know that an action is your obligatory duty or not?
By knowing what is your swadharma,
goal. On the goal.
what is your swadharma, then you will decide.
Not only swadharma, most important is
Higher goal.
The goal.
Your goal, correct. Your goal will determine whether it is your obligatory duty or not. Which is the action I ought to perform? The action that takes me to where I want to go. Obviously. How do I know my obligatory duty? Oh, but I'm a housewife, so I have to do this. Who told you all this nonsense? Your obligatory duties are those activities that take you to where you want to go. Where you want to go is known as a goal. If I am driving out of my building, should I turn right or left? How will you answer that question? When I drive out of my building, should I turn right or left?
Depends on where you want to go.
Depends on where I want to go. What right or left means what? No, you should turn right, right is so auspicious. Left is not good. This is a nonsense we keep doing. This is a good action. That is not a good action. What do you mean good and bad? You do the action that takes you where you want to go. So if you want to live in your house, then you better do your obligatory duties in the house. Otherwise, you will be thrown out of the house. Please do whatever you need to do. So whatever takes you to your goal are those things. If you're a Buddha, you don't need to sit down and look after the house. You don't have to worry, when will I paint the palace? Because I'm not going to live in the palace. So you don't have to worry about maintaining the palace. But if you are going to live in the palace, then you better start maintaining it. Otherwise, it will fall on your head only one day. So please understand, you're not doing things because other people have put this upon you. You are doing what you require to do to reach wherever you wish to go. So when we talk of obligatory duties, we took upon it as some horrible thing that has been put upon us, and the Shastras make us do this horrible thing called our duties. No, the Shastra is not telling you what your duty is. They're just telling you that if you don't do a particular set of actions, you will not have what you want. It's that simple, really. It's not some moralistic thing. You must do your duty, otherwise God will come and knock you down. If you don't do what you need to do to reach your goal, you will not reach your goal. Nothing moralistic about it. So, what does a sattvic person understand? Number 1, obligatory duty. He has to do his work, whatever his work be. Right? So, what is a sattvic person? What is renunciation? Renunciation is that you are doing your work. Whatever work you have to do, you are doing it. then how is it different from the rest of us? The difference is not in the work being performed. The difference is in the attitude in that work. So what is the attitude, he said? It is the relinquishment of attachment and fruit. Two things you have to leave. One is the ardent desire for that fruit, that longing, that craving. Okay, I am looking after my house, but that longing, that craving, oh, this house has to be perfect. It has to be better than everybody else's house. Okay, cut off all that nonsense. Just look, do. You have a job to do, just do it. Switch off all this extra stuff. You are living in a house, it becomes your duty to look after the house. If you want to have a house livable, then you will have to look after that house. So whatever you want, your actions are in alignment to that. So it becomes your obligatory duty. Now, what is different? That you're not longing, you're not craving for some fruit out of it. Oh, people will come to my house and they'll say how beautiful my house is, and they'll say your house is the best in the city. What a kick, no, when people come and tell you, your house is the best I've seen. Huge kick. Don't do it for that. That's what he's saying. You're not longing for any fruit. Not only you're not longing for any fruit, you also really have no attachment to the action itself. Because some of us get very obsessed with the action itself. Right? Some of us who love cleaning can be cleaning all day. And if somebody else tries to clean in our place, we'll get quite upset. We don't want you to do it. You can't do it. That is why many men don't help their wives. Because the moment they do something in the kitchen, she will set off a barrage of criticism. Oh, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, you didn't do that. Can't we say thank you for doing what you did do instead of saying you didn't do this, you didn't do this, you didn't do this? Thank you, you did so much. The rest I can do. Please at least do whatever you're doing. So, that attachment to the action, that longing, that craving, that attachment to the action. Like, I am going to look after my husband. I will give him his chapati. Nobody else can do that. Hey, Baba, somebody wants to give him chapati, let them know you got one less job to do. No, my husband, I have to give. How dare she give a chapati to him? Switch off all this. So if we can do whatever we need to do without a craving or longing for fruit, without a longing for the action itself. You don't want that action and you don't want the fruit. You don't want either of them. But you're doing it because you believe it's the right thing to do. Then this is known as
Sattvic
renunciation.
Sattvic renunciation.
Sattvic renunciation. So what have you given up? Not the action. This is critical to understand because in India we are all trying to become great renunciates, which means what? Basically become tamasic in life. I don't do this, I don't do that. I don't do this, I don't do that. Why don't you do it, Baba? Do it. Where is the sound coming from? Are you all also hearing the sound?
Yeah, I think it's Mr. Surendra's mic which is on.
No, it's off.
Okay.
At least it shows me off. So is sattvic renunciation clear? Sattvic renunciation means you did the action. Which action did you do? Those actions which will take you to your goal. Then what were you renounced from? You were renounced from the great attachment to that action, longing, craving for that action, and the longing, the craving for the goal, for the fruit of that action. So can you do it like this? Can you do your action, whatever according to you is right, without longing to do that particular action? or even get anything from it, then just imagine throughout the action, what will be your mental state?
Very calm.
Very calm. Now you see what they mean. Sattvic actors don't have agitation with work. People believe that work gives agitation. That's impossible. Work can never give stress. What gives stress is some impurity which we add into the action. What is that impurity? That craving for the fruit, that craving for the action. Remove this and defy the world to agitate you. No world will agitate you. No husband, no wife, no colleague, no market condition, no profit, no loss, no nothing. Cannot agitate. None have the capacity to. Only one thing can agitate you. Your own attachment to the action or to the fruit. Now go forth in the world and do whatever you need to do. No agitation. How's that for perfect living? Alright, so that's it for today.
Janki, if
Yes,
I
sir.
can, so there's a check on the desire also, right, which is prompting the action.
What do you mean?
You not propelled or rushed into the action by the desire, by the force of desire.
Yes, that is attachment to action, right? What desire? There are two types of desires. One desire is to get something from the action. And one desire is I like doing the action itself. For instance, when you come to class now, you have a desire to get something from it, maybe to get self-purification. You also enjoy attending the class, right? So there are two things involved over here. So don't go by either of these two things. Do the class simply because that's the right thing to do.
Thank you.
All right. Hari Om.